I hope that you guys had an absolutely spectacular weekend. This is Monday's edition of Everything Yesterday This Morning. The Biden administration plans to resume plans for federal oil and gas development. On Friday, the Biden administration said that it would resume plans for development on federal lands following a court ruling this week that temporarily restored a measure meant to factor the cost of global warming into federal decision making. This is just the latest in a string of stops and starts to the federal oil and gas leasing program since Biden took office. He pledged during his campaign to halt federal drilling auctions, but that effort has been stymied by a court challenge from Republican led states. Just a month ago, the Interior Department said it would delay upcoming federal oil and gas lease sales because a Louisiana federal judge blocked the administration from using its, quote, social cost of carbon value to factor the risks of climate change into decisions on permitting, investment, and regulatory issues. Earlier last week, a federal appeals court allowed the government to continue temporarily using the value of around $50 per ton of greenhouse gases emitted. The White House has reverted back to an Obama era value, which is far higher than the roughly $10 a ton imposed by the Trump administration. Interior spokesperson Melissa Schwartz said in an emailed statement that with this ruling, the department continues its planning for responsible oil and gas development on America's public lands and waters. She, however, declined to say whether the administration would resume oil and gas leasing auctions in the near term. Because, it's not like gas is a fortune right now or anything. The U.S. destroyer Ralph Johnson's sail through the Taiwan Strait on March 17th was a provocative act by the United States and sent the wrong signals to pro-Taiwan independence forces, the Chinese military said. Such an act was very dangerous, and troops were organized to monitor the passage, a Chinese military spokesperson said in a statement. China says that Taiwan is the most sensitive and important issue in its relations with the United States. Washington has no formal diplomatic relations with Taipei, but it is Taiwan's most important international backer and arms supplier. Xi Jinping told Joe Biden on Friday that the Taiwan issue needs to be handled properly to avoid a negative impact on Sino-U.S. relations. This situation, coupled with the admission by a U.S. admiral who said that China has fully militarized at least 3 of several islands that it built in the disputed South China Sea, arming them with anti-ship, anti-aircraft missile systems, laser and jamming equipment, and fighter jets, is a pretty aggressive move. The admiral was quoted as saying, quote, I think over the past 20 years, we've witnessed the largest military buildup since World War II by the PRC. They have advanced all their capabilities, and that buildup of weaponization is destabilizing to the region. China, however, maintains their position that their military profile is purely defensive, arranged to protect what it says are its sovereign rights. China now boasts the world's second largest defense budget after the United States and is rapidly modernizing its force with weapon systems including the J-20 Steel fighter, hypersonic missiles, and 2 aircraft carriers with a third under construction. Akiano said the construction of the missile arsenals, aircraft hangars, radar systems, and other military facilities are completed, and it remains to be seen if China will pursue the construction of military infrastructure in other areas. Quote, the function of those islands is to expand their offensive capability beyond their continental shores. They can fly fighters, bombers, plus all those offensive capabilities of missile systems. So that's the threat that exists, and that's why it's so concerning for the militarization of these islands. They threaten all nations who operate in the vicinity and all the international sea and airspace. China routinely objects to any action by the United States military in the region. Washington's main objective, according to this article, is to, quote, prevent war through deterrence and promote peace and stability, including by engaging American allies and partners in projects with that objective. And Aquiliano said, should deterrence fail, my second mission is to be prepared to fight and win. I'm sorry, I almost left that part off. I don't know if you, we'll get to that in a minute. The International Energy Agency warns of an oil supply shock as 30% of Russian production could go offline soon. Russia could soon be forced to curtail crude oil production by 30%, subjecting the global economy to the biggest supply crisis in decades. That is, unless Saudi Arabia and other major energy exporters start pumping more. Saudi Arabia did disclose this weekend they are planning on pumping more oil. So this is in conjunction with this article. But the world's second largest crude oil exporter could be forced to limit output by 3 million barrels per day in April. The IEA warned as major oil companies, trading houses, and shipping companies shun its exports and demand in Russia slumps. Russia was pumping about 10 million barrels of crude per day and exporting about half of that. The implications of a potential loss of Russian oil exports to global markets cannot be understated. But our betters know better. It's more important to virtue signal. It's more important to get involved in things that have nothing to do with us than keep world stability. Bread, cookies, noodles, and cereal could be the most expensive items in the coming days. As we all know, unless we're politicians, food prices are already soaring in the United States. If the shortages continue, food producers will be forced to increase prices even higher. According to farmers, importers, and manufacturers, the cost of essential food such as bread, cookies, cereal, and pasta is likely to rise by 4 to 50% in the coming months. Russia and Ukraine produce 30% of the world's largest wheat supply. The Black Sea port in Ukraine is now closed, making it impossible to ship wheat and other agricultural supplies to the United States and other parts of the world. Nobody knows when or if they'll ever reopen. Wheat prices have risen to their highest levels since 2008, owing to a growing concern of worldwide shortage as the Ukraine crisis has cut off almost 25% of its wheat exports. Wheat, used in everything from bread to cookies and noodles. The price of bread will rise by 10 to 20%, pasta by 50%. Just in the last year, baked goods have already increased 6.8% due to inflation. The U.S. inflation has already reached a 40-year high. Cereal, bread, pasta, cookies, noodles, those are the things that I've mentioned. Those are a few of the items that may face shortages or disappear entirely from grocery store shelves this year. I challenge you to make a visit to your pantry and look at the ingredients. Anything that says wheat in their ingredients is going to be more expensive in the coming weeks and months. And if the government has been proven to be the worst at anything, it is the projections of financial implications. Just look at the Fed meeting that I covered last week, where they were off so bad they had to alter their predictions. Go buy rice, beans, canned food. I keep telling you things are going to get hard. I hope that you're listening, and I don't have to say, well, I told you so, because no one likes that bitch. The United States announces $5 million reward for anyone with information leading to the asset seizure of Russian oligarchs. This offer is to any U.S. citizen who can provide information leading to the asset seizure of Russian oligarchs following sanctions put in place due to their support and role in the invasion of Ukraine. I don't know if there's any proof of that, but apparently. This announcement was made by the U.S. Treasury Department and said it's an effort to clamp down on certain Russian individuals who are allied with President Putin Formerly named the Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Rewards Program, the program was reportedly approved months before Russian forces even invaded Ukraine as part of a defense spending bill under Donald Trump's administration. Congress established this program to further the U.S. government's commitment to combating foreign government corruption and serve United States efforts to identify, recover stolen assets, forfeit proceeds of corruption, and where appropriate and feasible, return those stolen assets or proceeds to the country harmed by the acts of corruption. I mean, does this mean we can start stealing all the assets of members of Congress that they have acquired while stealing from the American people? I'm sorry, but this is insane to me. We are now hunting down private citizens, stealing their personal property because we don't like the head of state in another country. This should alarm you. This is not something that should be cheered. We are not the world's police, and last I checked, Russia did not declare war on the United States, nor did it infringe upon our country in any way, shape, or form. We have got to stop cheering on these despots in their bid to protect democracy at the expense of citizens all over the world. A new bill could bring hundreds of dollars to a parent's bank account. You heard that. Hundreds could be coming to your bank account. Mitt Romney proposed a plan where American residents could receive a monthly cash allowance of $350 per child whose age is below 6, and parents who have a child between 6 and 17 could get $250 per child. Apparently, this is different. This is how this is written in the article, so I still don't understand, but I'm going to quote it verbatim so that I don't mess up. This is different from the child tax credit because, unlike the child tax credit, this bill would not be an extension of the tax credit program. Where's the money coming from? The eligibility for the plan is a broader range of income brackets, and the allowance starts from $200,000 for single filers and doubles for joint filers, which is $400,000. The only drawback is that the maximum benefit would be $1,250 a month per family. So larger families would not be able to claim an allowance for every child in their home. Romney believes this will decrease 1/3 of child poverty in America. I have an idea. How about we end federal income tax and the Federal Reserve, and every citizen gets to keep every dollar they earn? How do we think poverty will look then? Just asking questions here. I hope you guys had a great Monday. I will see you. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. I hate asking that at the end of every episode, but I'll never grow if you don't do it. So I love you. Hit that button. You guys take care and have a great Monday.